Now, today we're going to talk about marriage in Thailand. And I wrote the book Looking for Love in Thailand. And some people get kind of confused about why I would be kind of sounding on marriage with a Thai woman. And it's not just Thai women. I think it's, unless there is a reason, unless you can come up, not, I love her, I can't imagine life without her. Okay, you can love her, you can not imagine life without her, without marriage. Okay, if you absolutely love someone, you can live together for the rest of your days until you die. Okay, but unless there's a benefit, a reason to get married, some benefit to you, okay, then you shouldn't be getting married. There are some people that want to buy a house and they need to be married to their the woman in their life or the person in their life to qualify for the home. That's a reason to get married, okay? You're risking a lot, but you're getting a lot. You're getting a new home, okay? When you have nothing to gain by getting married, you're a fool to get married. I don't care what anyone says, okay? In most cases, when we come to, let's get more specific to Thailand, okay? When someone comes to Thailand, you don't have a lot of first time marriages, okay? You don't have a lot of 25-year-old guys, 30-year-old guys who've never been married before go to Thailand, find a woman, and get married. Usually it's the second go round. Second marriages have a 62% failure rate. So that means that no matter how good you are, no matter what you do, there's a 62% chance you're going to fail. Or your odds are only 38% that you're actually going to make it. Okay? 38%. You're rolling the dice. Okay? You're putting all of your stuff at risk. Now, the other thing that happens in Thailand, I just have a hard time believing men are so, I don't want to be offensive, but stupid. Okay? When you have a 62% chance of failure, okay, and then they do the things they do, either they don't understand the system or they're just plain stupid. Okay, you build a house in Thailand, it has to go in your wife's name. Okay? Now, there are situations I can see, if a couple's been together for 10, 15 years and you build a house that's going your wife's name, she's put up with your ass for 10 or 15 years, okay? If she takes the house, then yeah, she deserves it. But it goes beyond that, okay? If there are different ways to protect houses and property in Thailand. There's a thing called, I think it's right of use or something. And basically what it is a contract that gives you lifetime right of use to that house. To where even if, shit happens and you get a divorce from the woman, she technically owns the house and the land, or I guess the land on the house, but you can't divide it, so technically she owns both. But you are given right of use to where you're not going to be thrown out of your own house, supposedly. The problem becomes this, okay? When in the West, okay, or anywhere, for a person building a home in their own country, okay, let's go back in time. I know real estate's expensive in the West now, but let's say $100,000 you have sitting in the bank. You're going to take that $100,000, you're going to build a house for you and your wife, whatever. All right. That money changes. It does. You don't lose that money. You're changing it from a liquid asset, which is money in the bank or cash, to more of an investment asset, to where you're investing in this house. If it's goes according to the historic records, it's going to go up in value, gain equity, those kinds of things. Okay, that's a benefit. But you don't lose your money. Okay, when a man builds a house in Thailand, he is giving, let's use the same $100,000, he's giving $100,000 gift to his wife because he has just lost that asset. That $100,000 in cash, he no longer has. So you can call it, the right to use or anything else, but basically you have just taken 100, 250,000 if it's a smaller house, whatever the amount of the house is, you have taken that out of your assets and given it away because you don't have any claim to it. It's like you went out and you had the party of your lifetime and just threw the whole, 50,000, 100,000 away. It's no longer one of your assets. It's gone because no one can lay claim to it except your Thai wife. Okay. Now, there's other issues, and this kind of was sparked because we were talking the other day about the problems of marriage, and I was talking with a guy who's a professor, and this is kind of his field of specialty, and he was talking about how marriage isn't taken as seriously as it once was, and he was talking about that a lot of it has to do with the women's inequality, like in the 40s, 50s, 60s, at least here in America, women relied on a man for stability. If they were married and they had children and they were to get a divorce because a man cheated on her or something, and it was, she was freaking out wondering how she was going to make a living because women didn't have all the opportunities they do now. A lot of women didn't do anything with their education. They just became a housewife. And I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm not sounding on anyone. I'm talking, because what this man said made a lot of sense. There was a necessity to keep the marriage together because the woman didn't feel like she had a lot of options. So, and I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just an observation that helps explain why marriages are where they are nowadays. Nowadays, women have credit. Women have great jobs. Women have, all the things that men have. So there's not any financial reward for staying married. And if somebody's unhappy, there's no reason to fear poverty to keep a marriage together. So, according to this theory, that's and it makes sense. It's, because one of the things I've found in my life is that when people are given options, okay, they have the ability to do something or not do something. Usually people pick kind of the worst thing that they can do. You talk to somebody about working, and it's like they'd rather sit at home and drink beer than they would go to work. But going to work is physically good for you because you get out and do something. It's mentally good for you because you accomplish something and have a sense of accomplishment. You socially meet other people. There's all kinds of benefits. So that's one of the things. And one of the things too is that a lot of people are prone to being selfish. They're, when somebody gets married, they tend to be in it for themselves. I feel this way. He didn't do this for me. She didn't do that for me. Okay. One of the smartest people I ever heard, there was a family member. I won't go into it because it's kind of a personal situation. There was a family member that talked about her mother and the birds and the bee talk on her wedding day. And this lady's mother, the lady was older, and when her mother came to her, she was a young lady, 1920, when she got married, and she had the sex talk. And the mother told her, she said, honey, she said, you're getting married. She said, you're going to be this man's wife. As this man's wife, you have to have sex 2 to 3 times a week, and you do that so he doesn't, go out and have sex with another woman, so he's happy. And it's no one likes it. It's a disgusting thing, but you have to do it if you want to keep your marriage together. So there you go. So this 19-year-old girl, 20-year-old girl told this. He's like, oh my God. But she remembered that if, she wants to keep her marriage together, she's got to do this. And so that's when the lady that was told this, the bride, started telling her own story. And she said, it was. I was scared, like most women are that are young and not, familiar with sex. And she said, but I remember what my mom told me 2 or 3 times a week, I have to let my husband have sex with me. And she said, it wasn't too long, I took that seriously because I didn't want to end up getting a divorce or losing my husband. And she said it didn't take very long, looking back, before I remember starting to enjoy it. And I look forward to the nights that we came together. And it was funny because these two were now an older couple. And everyone joked if you're like traveling with them and you had to go to breakfast, no one wanted to go because they were always late to breakfast for obvious reasons. And no one wanted to go to their room and knock on the door and say, hey guys, come in or whatever, because, no one wanted to think about that. But that, kind of backwards way of dealing with it made a couple have a really good sex life for the rest of their life because they started off. I mean, if you think of this, there is some basis in it. You talk to, I'm 63 years old. I have talked to men, for my entire life, and I have never yet talked to a man who you talk to about who's just gotten married, and he's talking about his private relations with his wife, and he says, oh yeah, sex was great before marriage, but after marriage, it's just phenomenal. No, every man that gets married talks about the resounding either slow down or shut down of sex with their now wife. Okay. And I mean, I'm not blaming women. I'm not bashing women. I'm sure the same could be true for the nice things that men do. Ask any woman who gets married, well, how many times did he bring you flowers before marriage as well as after marriage? How many times did he wine and dine you and take you out to nice dinners, open your car door, really woo you? How many times did he do that before marriage as opposed to after marriage? And it's like, we're all that kind of, we all have that in us to where we want to get to a point to where we can relax and not have to try so hard. But relaxing isn't where we're at our best. We're at our best when we're trying hard. And that's one of the things when it comes to marriage in general, and especially in Thailand. Okay? Men have at least I can't think of anything. There's no tax deductions, no benefits for getting married in Thailand to a Thai person. Okay? Or a Thai woman, I should say. I don't get the whole debate of lady boys or whatever. But anyways, a man, there's nothing that there's any benefit to getting married, because I know a lot of couples in Thailand who have been living together for years and they're very happy. They do everything together. I know some couples, to give credit where credit's due, I know some couples who are happily married. But the problem is it's kind of like a unicorn thing, to where it's so far between the ones who have gotten married and gone down that path and are happy and still living together and, still a functioning couple. It's so few get to that point because you're throwing so many obstacles in the way. When some of the things a lot of people understand. First of all, we've already talked about the house. That's a given. You build a house in Thailand, you can own a condo in your name as a foreigner. There's rules that apply, and you have to work with a professional agent. Always with any of this stuff, I'm not the authority on it. I'm going from what I've researched and everything else. So before you do anything, always consult with professionals who can guide you. Go to, if you want to know what the legalities are of marriage with a Thai woman, talk to an attorney. But don't go to an attorney that she sends you to. Don't go to an attorney that is, friends of the family of hers. Just go through, and you're better off picking some guy randomly out of the phone book. I don't have phone books anymore. Google, excuse me. But anyways, that because a lot of people work with attorneys or know attorneys really well who have on occasion guided a farang in the wrong direction to benefit the family. So, anyways, but that's always check and make sure that that's you're covered legally. But when it comes, the thing that hits so hard to a lot of men, like I said, you build a house for a Thai woman because it sounds like you're not going to live there too. But truthfully, you're giving her the house because legally it's hers. When you build it, you nor any of your heirs, will ever see benefit of that house or any kind of equity, money, anything. You've just taken your 100,000, 200,000, whatever the house is worth or cost to build, or you paid for. You've just taken that money out of your money that you have, your estate, and you've given to that woman. Okay. Now that's one thing. And I mean, if I'm not, if there's a reason to do that, let's say that you have been living with this Thai woman for the last 10 years and she's been a great wife and mother to your kids and she's taking care of you and your home and everything else, and you decide that you're going to build a house, and not, I'm not saying you have to build anything elaborate because Thai people are not like they are in the West, so they have to have a mansion. They'll be happy with a 2-bedroom, 2-bath house, nothing big, just something new and nice. But, let's say that she's been your wife without a marriage for the last 10 or 15 years, and you decide you're going to build her a house. More power to you. If things don't work out in the last stretch, then she worked hard for that, that house. So, but that's the thing. If it's lasted 10 or 15 years, it'll probably last until the end. But when it comes to these guys that are getting married in really kind of stupid ways, they've met like a bar girl or a girl that is way younger than them, and I don't, age is just a number, I don't care about age and all these other things. And, it's that, and the first thing he does is he wants to build a house for them. Okay? That's the way a lot of men end up in such dire straits. I mean, it is because there's a lot of things that happen. And one of the things you have to remember is in the West, the court system tries to be fair. Now, I don't care what anyone says. You talk to any two people who've gone through a divorce and they got screwed by the courts. I don't care if it's the man or the woman. Both of them got screwed. They didn't get what they thought they should get. So there's that. But pretty much they try to be fair. They look at the equity in the relationship, how long it's been. They don't see some guy losing his head and marrying a gold digger and married for 3 months and she gets half his stuff. It doesn't work that way. But in Thailand, the court system, and this is said by everyone, it's not, it's completely sided towards the Thai person. And so, where a person goes through divorce, if you're looking for fairness, you're not going to find it in the Thai court. And, you have to begin with a 62% chance you're going to fail. You have to at least look at this realistically and say, what if, and cover yourself. Because there was a documentary I was watching to where it was talking about the number of homeless people is growing in Pattaya, and a lot of those homeless people are from the West, and they came to Pattaya. They, went through the whole process. They fell in love. They built the house. They bought the cars, and all of a sudden went through divorce and lost everything. And that can happen because in Thailand, it makes it so much easier to do anything and everything when it comes to financial matters if it goes through a Thai person's name. So the first thing is the house. You build a house. It's not your house anymore. It's not your money anymore. You just gave that to your wife. Whether she lets you live there for the next 30 years or kicks your ass out next week, that's your wife's house. That's, you may have right to use, but do you really want to have use with an angry Thai lady, living there and or having, to come in contact with an angry Thai lady who wants you to leave? Second thing, cars. Now, after you buy this young lady that you've married and built a house for, after you built the house, you're going to buy her a new car. And you think, what the hell? I'll splurge. I'm going to buy me a truck. Okay. So you have your truck and her car, both of which have her name on the title to make life easy. Okay. Now you have your money back in America or England or Australia or wherever you're from. You have your assets back in a bank or financial institution back in that country, governed by American laws. No one, unless they're on the account, can get to your money. And if they do, scammers, then they'll replace it. But your now Thai wife isn't going to get to your money in your country of origin. However, a lot of people say, well, instead of transferring money over from my bank accounts in the West to the Thai bank account, it'd be easier if I just, get a Thai account and just put the money here. Thinking, it's a bank, it's safe, okay. But you put your wife on that too because it's easier. Now, you go through divorce and she's listed on the house, which is now hers. She's listed on the cars, which are now hers. And she's listed on your bank accounts, which is now hers in most cases because the courts favor the Thai person. So, you started off with, as a foolish old man who thought he could find love in a 20-year-old, and now you just squandered all of your money in this delusional whatever. Okay, you have to use your head. Okay, don't do these things. Okay, it leads financial ruin of so many people. People talk about partying and going out to red light districts and having, bar girls is going to bankrupt them. No, it's not. What's going to bankrupt you is you being stupid with your money. And you fall in love, you think, and you're going to build a house and get a car and go jewelry shopping and all these things. And you go through your assets like there's no tomorrow. And there is really no tomorrow. You'll be one of the Western guys they talked about in the documentary who they're ashamed to go home because they lost everything. So they live in the seedy parts of Pattaya, which I don't know where they're at, or sleep on the beach. So, use your head. If there's no reason why a grown man who's been married once before and the score needs to get married a second time. If, the only one rushing marriage in a Thai relationship generally is the woman because she stands to gain the most. It's kind of like when I was younger, I sold life insurance. And there was a joke about when it comes to insurance, over-insuring yourself. Because a lot of people, it's like, especially when they're young, they look at life insurance as so cheap for so much. You can get like $1 million policy, and it's really not that expensive if you're 20 years old or 18 or whatever. And so a lot of people tend to over-insure, try to. But, you tell them, you do it as a joke, but kind of telling them, it's like if you're a bag boy or working at a fast food place and you have a $10 million life insurance policy, you're worth a lot more dead than alive. And that might give whoever's the beneficiary some ideas. But it's true. It's like when a woman realizes that she gets you stupid enough, drunk enough, and just all, ridiculous from sex enough, that she gets you to marry her, her life is set. At least, unless she spends it all. But she's gonna, if the marriage lasts, then she can be way better off, and so is her family, because you got to take care of them too. If the marriage doesn't last, she now has a nice house to live in without your ass in it. She has an extra truck to sell and scooter or whatever. And she has whatever cash that you haven't spent on everything else that you spent. So she's going to be way better off than she was working in the bar or at 7-Eleven or wherever she works. So, think before you do these things. Pattaya is a playground and a land of fantasy. Go enjoy the fantasy. I think I'm not into the red light districts that much. I go to Thailand to find a nice Thai lady to have a relationship with. But a relationship isn't marriage, because I'm not going to risk that much for no benefit. I mean, like I said, no one has ever said the sex life after marriage is great. No, that's ridiculous. So, when you're doing this, be careful. Get realistic professional help when you're planning these things, so you don't end up in, living on the streets or having to return home embarrassed. And, be smart with your money, be smart with your woman. Because if a woman loves you, she's going to stay with you and love you whether you marry her or live with her. As long as you treat her well and treat her with respect, she'll be there. If she's a gold digger and looking to see what she can get, then she will really push marriage and insist on it, or she's going to withdraw her emotions. So there you go. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe. There's over 100 videos between the shorts and the full-length videos now, so there's a lot to see. Go through them, enjoy them. Anything about Thailand. If you do have questions for me, the email address is at the beginning and at the end of the video. So good luck, and don't give your money away.